Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and today we're going to be looking at some of the non-job oriented information that came out of the recent media tour. Now the media tour is about a week old at this point, and everyone's still yammering on about White Mage and all that stuff. However, the Reddit user Tormented Dragon actually compiled a bunch of non-job related information in a Reddit post about a week ago. It has all the sources, Nova Chrysalis, Dengeki, some of my fellow YouTubers and Twitch brethren such as FS. So you have all the different sources here. So make sure to go to every single source and give them your love, your likes, everything. I'll include this Reddit post in the description, and then you can see all the lit up sources as we scroll down through it. They're all blue, they're all clickable, and that'll take you to the source. So anyway, there is quite a bit of information here, so I may have to do a few cuts here and there to get through all the information. And there's cut number one. So the first thing we're going to cover is PvE, and the very first one is kind of like the big highlight for me. The demand for 4-man Savage content has become much more severe. So much so that Yoshi P is considering incorporating more Savage level content for 4-man parties in the upcoming Deep Dungeon. However, unlike our current Deep Dungeon where it's, oh, you gotta climb all those floors, and then yes, the last 20 floors, the enemies hit really hard and it feels kind of savage, making it less time-gated or time-consuming to get to that difficult content is likely going to be a design decision for the next Deep Dungeon, so people who want a challenge can access that challenge fairly readily. That comes out of Nova Chrysalis and Dengeki, and also don't forget the next Deep Dungeon is going to include new objectives and mechanics. That's information we've had for a while now, but once again reinforced by those two sources. Sightseeing Log is going to have some new entries, and they are also going to have a harder version of the Sightseeing Log coming in some upcoming patches. That comes from Ethys's interview. Crossworld Friends List and Link Shells, again to be confirmed to be in the works by MMORPG.com, and more worldless systems are being planned. They're even considering cross-world free companies. I mean, if you're going to do link shells and friends list, a free company just seems like the next step, if you ask me. We are going to get an update for free company crafting in patch 4.1, specifically about personal airships and aerial combat. It was mentioned as an idea before Heavensward. Yoshi P said, no comment yet, but we have something coming soon. We know submarines are coming to free company crafting, but could there be more? So just something worth commenting. We are going to be getting more updates regarding free company crafting in 4.1. Again, confirmed, new Aquapolis coming in 4.0. That's from Easy Allies. Stormblood story being split 50-50. That comes from Avalon Star. We've kind of heard that a few times at this point, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that actually ends up panning out. Some sort of spectator mode is coming for PvE raids. This was mentioned before, and honestly, as much as they say it's still coming, my hopes aren't very high on that one. But they said it's going to be more than just spectating, so I almost wonder if it's like somebody's going to be overseeing it and like placing markers and stuff on the ground. Like if a phase changes, could you have the person overseeing in the spectator mode replace markers for the new position so the people in the group don't actually need to do it? That'd be a pretty hardcore 9th member to have, if you ask me. Also, the final battle for Omega is going to be very visually appealing, like Turn 13. And the Savage version's going to have something a little bit extra. That comes from Mog Talk. So they actually had some really good questions regarding Savage and Super Savage. So the next question is clarifying some of the things we can expect from the Super Savage encounters we're going to be seeing in odd-numbered patches starting in patch 4.1. So it's going to reward back bragging rights, but it's going to be more than a title. There's going to be some sort of loot involved with that, so mounts, minions, who knows, but it's going to be more than a title. High-end versions of raids we've already seen. This means that it's not limited to the first tier of Omega. For all we know, they could go back and do a Savage Turn 13. Maybe they do Ozma. It's never said for certain, but if you're looking back at old fights you'd love to see a Savage version of, it's possible that those could be getting a Savage version in odd-numbered patches. On top of that, it's the same team that worked on Second Coil Savage, so they did a fantastic job with Second Coil Savage, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how that actually pans out. By the way, that Super Savage will be a single encounter. It will not be a full tier of raids. So on top of that, the current thing that they're going to be doing in odd-numbered patches, if you haven't heard, they're only going to be doing one max-level dungeon now in odd-numbered patches, while they do 2 dungeons in even-numbered patches. Now, this could be a misrepresentation or mistranslation of some kind. They're not exactly certain, or a misunderstanding even in that case. But that's the way it seems like it's going to be looking, because in odd-numbered patches, they're going to be working on a lot greater a variety of content. So they're not just adding 2 dungeons, a primal, new main story quest, something that people have often expressed being tired of getting the exact same things over and over again. Is it worth sacrificing a dungeon to get this new content? As long as it's not Lords of Verminion 2, I think we'll be pretty alright. That's all the PvE stuff that came out of all the separate interviews, but there were also some new PvP things. For example, the new PvP mode will be coming in patch 4.1. Originally planned for patch 4.05, but it took a little longer to develop than they anticipated. On top of that, the new mode will only have 2 teams and will be large-scale battles between those 2 teams. It's not really like Frontlines because it's not team versus team versus team, and Feast is very small scale, so think of it like something a little bit new. On top of that, it's going to involve siege-type weapons. This is something that Mary also asked in our shared interview time that we had with Naoki Yoshida. He even mentioned something like Brute Justice making an appearance there, so I don't really know how to anticipate that. So just take it for what it is. Brute Justice was mentioned. That's it. He was mentioned. Don't take it any further than that. But it will involve mechs and weapons that you can control separately in order to achieve your goal. There is some old artwork of what looks to be a siege-type PvP mode, where one team is defending a base and another team is attacking a base. So I'm hoping that that is actually how it ends up being. PvP, by the way, will be available from level 30, and you can PvP in the free trial of the game starting in 4.0. You can't do ranked matches, but you can at least use the free trial to get a feel for Final Fantasy XIV's PvP changes if it's something you're interested in getting into the game for in the first place. If you didn't know also, PvP will be granting experience points from level 30 all the way to 70, so yes, you can also use PvP to level in Final Fantasy XIV now. If you're looking for something to shake up the experience from Palace of the Dead or Fates or Dungeons or whatever it is that you are normally doing. My concern there, of course, being that PvP skills are so vastly different from PvE skills that could lead to some issues, but let's be honest, the way people do Palace of the Dead now, it probably can't be much worse than that, right? On top of that, they're going to be revamping some of the old achievements. The old Wolves Den achievements are going to be moved into the Feast, and it's possible they're going to be removing the Wolves Den completely in favor of some of the newer modes. And on top of that, frontline rules might be put on some sort of rotation, perhaps weekly. Interested to see how that ends up panning out, but that's just a bunch of information that came out of a bunch of interviews, and honestly, this still isn't even everything. But I wanted to go over this post because it does contain a lot of information. So anyway, be sure to go to all of those sources, click on every single blue link in here. If it's a video, like it. If it's a post, favorite it. Whatever it is you got to do, give every single person and source on this list, other than me, because you're already here watching this video, and whatever, you're already here, so you got to go give it all to them, because they're the ones who originated all of this content. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned, because there actually is quite a bit of information that I need to get out there on my channel, especially with Stormblood. So close. I can't wait. Anyway, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.